Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really powerful framework called the Adaptation Matrix. Seriously, it's a fascinating way to think about how you can tailor your presence to command respect, no matter what room you walk into. So let's just jump right in with a question that I'm pretty sure we've all faced. Have you ever been in a situation, maybe a work meeting, where you felt completely in command, totally on your game, only to go to a party later and feel, I don't know, awkward and just completely out of place? Why does that confident presence just evaporate? This right here, this illustrates the core problem perfectly. Think about a power pause. In a boardroom, it's gold. It signals you're confident, you're in control. But try that same move at a friend's party. It's just weird and stiff. It's the exact same tactic, but in a different context, it completely backfires. And that leads us to what the source material calls the context trap. You know, it's that moment when a tactic that has worked for you 1,000 times suddenly fails, all because you're in the wrong setting. Instead of projecting authority, you actually end up signaling weakness. So here is the crucial mind shift you have to make. Context isn't just some passive backdrop. It's the arena. It is the battlefield where your influence is either won or lost. And according to this framework, you absolutely have to learn how to master it. Okay, so if that's the trap, how do you get out of it? Well, this is where we bring in the big idea from our source, the adaptation matrix. You can think of it as your strategic playbook for navigating absolutely any social or professional context. At its heart, the matrix is really a system for consciously, deliberately adjusting your approach. It's all built on two key components that you have to get in sync: your inner thoughts and your outer actions. The whole goal is to make them a perfect fit for whatever arena you're in. First up, you've got outer tactics. Now, think of these as everything people can see and hear. It's your posture, your handshake, the tone of your voice, even the way you take up space in a room. These are all the external signals that broadcast your authority. And then we have the other equally important piece of the puzzle, your inner codes. This is all about your internal game, your mindset, the story you're telling yourself in your own head. For instance, an inner code like "I lead with clarity" is going to create very different outer actions than an inner code of "I connect with ease." This is the stuff that makes your actions feel real and authentic. Okay, theory is great, but let's look at some real-world examples. This is where the adaptation matrix really comes to life and starts to click. So first, let's talk about Sarah. She's a manager, a total powerhouse in the boardroom. And her firm, confident handshake, it was a fantastic outer tactic for closing deals. But when she used it at family gatherings, it just came across as kind of aggressive and out of place. So what did she do? She adapted. She didn't just stick with what worked at the office. In social settings, she consciously switched her outer tactic to more open, welcoming gestures. And the result? People saw her as warm and approachable with her family, while she was still a total boss at work. She actually earned more respect in both arenas. Now let's flip it and look at an inner code example. We've got an executive named Mark. At work, his internal mindset, his inner code was basically "I dominate." And hey, it fueled his competitive drive, it worked for him there. But the problem was, he was carrying that same code into his friendships, and it was pushing people away. So Mark's solution was all about calibrating that inner code. When he was with friends, he consciously shifted his mindset to "I inspire." And that subtle internal change automatically softened his tone, his approach, everything. He went from alienating his friends to earning their genuine respect. See how that works? Now this is a fantastic breakdown of the strategic genius of a true icon, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, she was an absolute master of adaptation. In court, her outer tactics were all about precise speech, a calm demeanor, all of it driven by that powerful inner code of unwavering commitment to justice. But then, when she was in public, she completely shifted gears. Her outer tactics changed to a warm tone and relatable stories. And why? Because her inner code shifted to connecting with the audience. She didn't have one rigid persona. She adapted for maximum impact. It is just such a powerful example of this strategy working at the highest possible levels. So this all sounds great, right? But how do you actually start doing it? How do you go from just understanding the matrix to truly mastering it? Well, the source material gives us a battle plan. 5 very specific drills you can practice. These 5 drills are basically your workout routine for mastering adaptation. You could try something like the mindset shift, where you consciously decide on your inner code before a big meeting. Or the setting scan, where you take a minute to analyze a situation before you even act. The source is crystal clear on this. Consistent practice is what builds the skill.
And let's end on this quote from the source because it really drives home what's at stake here. This isn't just some nice-to-have skill. In the battle for influence, adapting to context is everything. It is literally the difference between being a commanding presence and just fading into the background.
So the ultimate takeaway here is that authority isn't some fixed trait that you either have or you don't. No way. It is a dynamic, strategic skill that you have to cultivate and constantly adapt. And that leaves us with one final crucial question for you to think about. Which context, which battlefield are you going to conquer first?